Guys, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is D-Free, and for today's video we're going to be talking about the best hybrid Saiyan teams that you guys can be building in the game. So if you guys haven't seen, I've done numerous team building guide videos over the years. Like, I have a few that you guys will probably find pretty easy if you search them up, and they just basically go over general philosophies and basic things that you need to know in terms of building teams, and there's still great information in those. But what I'm doing here is we are specifically focusing on a team. I am not going to wind up doing this for every team, and no, this is not going to be like a weekly thing. I've done a couple of these, most notably during the anniversary. We are now outside of the anniversary period, but this is not something I'm going to do all that often. It just more or less whenever I feel like it type of deal. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about hybrid Saiyans. They did get the new Gohan a few weeks ago, and he is one of the best characters in the game, and obviously on this team as a result. So for today's video, as we go through, if you guys haven't seen the previous ones, what I'm doing is I'm going color by color and listing off the best options that you guys are going to want to be using for your teams. If you don't have X character, maybe you do this, that, etc. And again, we go throughout all of the characters pretty much and go from there. So today's video like goal is going to be 1,500. That is an easy like goal to hit. That's like less than 10% viewership probably. So if you guys enjoy the content, please help me and support the channel by hitting the thumbs up. Also leaving a comment, whatever you want for the algorithm. And sharing the video out with your friends as well if you have any friends that run hybrids and need to know how to build hybrids in general, right? So last thing I want to say before we actually jump in, this is going to be a lot of talking in this video. This is not a gameplay video, it's just a guide type of video. So please, if you need to, put the video on 1.25 times speed or whatever to help you get through the video, but understand I'm going to be talking a lot. All right, so here we go. Let's start off with the red characters. We're gonna just eliminate these characters. That was a sample team that I was testing out, by the way. It's one of the better versions, I guess, but it's just something I was testing. All right, so Gohan, the best character in the game. Some people you ask may say he's second. Some people even say he's third. He's the best character in the game, in my opinion, and various people's opinions. So he's the best character in the game. So if you have Gohan, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're running this Gohan on this team. Like there's just, unless you're purposely not trying to run him, there's no reason to do anything else. He's your red character. That's it. The funny thing about him is he's a ranged character. A lot of his uniques do feed into more ranged based things like blast card cost down, key recovery and blast damage up for his allied hybrid Saiyan or Sun family characters. An incredible unique ability that actually is a stacking unique ability per character you have on your team. Like it's really good, but the thing is, like, you still run him on your melee based team as well because he may be a little slower, but he's really good. And if you don't think he's in particular like so good, one thing I will say is a lot of times people see him, he's on Sun family, and the problem with running him on Sun family versus hybrids is on hybrids you can run a team where he gets all 6 Z abilities, and on the best versions of Sun family he's maybe getting like 3, so he's like a shell of himself on that team, and he'll still be good, but he's a shell of himself. So yes, Gohan on hybrids is a whole different animal, especially if you do something like that. So this is a Zenkai buff. Trunks you could use technically if you really needed to bring like double reds, but what you're doing here is you're bringing Trunks to give Gohan specifically that red hybrid Saiyan buff. So Gohan doesn't offer his to Trunks for the record, but Trunks does offer his to Gohan. So Gohan's getting 80% give or take on every stat, and again he's even better on top of the fact he's getting his Z ability always. So that's like, this is what you're doing if you have this as an option. Otherwise you just run Gohan as your red. If you don't have either of those two characters, if you don't have Gohan, let's eliminate him. The next best red character in my opinion actually is Trunks. Trunks is nothing special, but he is a character that I think is probably a little underrated in terms of being a Zenkai character. So for one, being a Zenkai character does net him the ability of being better than a lot of the majority of the game, especially at a lower star level, right? Not everybody has everything, and not everybody has everything at my star level, but Trunks has some utility in here, most notably the defensive ability he has, some of the debuffs he has, but I really love this unique ability where he offers health, ki, and damage for his allies. So he's, in my opinion, that's one of the things that you can really do for him. So if you don't want to run this Trunks, though, you can do fine with either of these two as your next character. What I will say is, as you get into some of these characters, you'll see they're not actually buffing the Z ability, so do keep that in mind. I mean, you don't need all 6, but keep that in mind as you kind of peel away a little bit more, and specifically with a character like him who wants to have future allies or Vegeta family allies. Is there a realm where you build a hybrid team of pretty much all future and Vegeta family allies? Sure, but is that the best possible version? No. Red Gotenks is probably a little underrated at this point as well, man, but he's just kind of old. Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 are good for actually a lot of the same reasons as the Red Trunks as well. So that's it. The rest of them don't really bear consideration. I mean, this dude is decent, but he's not anywhere in, like, there's a huge tier drop off, so I wouldn't recommend him. Okay, let's go to the yellows next. So in terms of yellows, the best yellow you can run for your team is going to be the LF Gohan. This dude is actually a menace. LF Gohan is... I think that LF Gohan, a lot of people don't really see how good this character is, but he does so many stupid things that are ridiculous. Like, he has type neutrality, he has the special cover, he's got like just great sustainability, endurance. Like, this dude is actually freaking the Vanish Gauge restoration for some reason. This dude is a freaking beast. Okay, so draw speed. Look how long this unique is. He's a freaking monster. Draws green cards twice. He's a monster. So he's the best. But I will say, if you don't have him, you can actually benefit very well from running Goten. Goten is a character that is a support type character. Are his stats a little power crept? Like, his damage isn't great, his tanking ability isn't great post transformation, sure. Like, his stats aren't terrible. It's just he's not really, that's not really his role, right? He has the Vanish Gauge restoration on Blast. His green is a combo starter as well, has Blast armor. He draws one with the post transformation main ability. He has +2 draw speed here, which I mainly use just to stall. But again, the utility he has here in terms of buffing, and the pre-transformation, his green card does buff the strike attack for allies as well, and he does restore ki here too. It's just a time transformation though. After about 20 counts, he does get a health gain and stuff like that, but he has some utility. He's probably your next best yellow character. You know what? It's not even probably. There's, again, it's another scenario just like the red one, where you look at that red armor Trunks, and after the first couple characters in this list, pretty much all of them, like, there's just a massive drop off in terms of how good they are after Goten and the LF Gohan respectively. So again, best possible version, there's that. If you don't happen to have either of those two characters, I think it comes down to what type of team you're running. Are you running a blast based team? Are you running, again, like I was explaining a little bit ago, more of a Future / Vegeta family version, because this guy isn't buffing that? This guy would be your answer. He can still be a nice wall. He looked pretty good in my 1 year later showcase video I did for him about a month ago. But everybody else here is pretty niche. Like, this dude, he's a melee character. He's mainly used for defeated buffs. He's extremely niche, right? So we go ahead and take a look at the purples here. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No questions. That dude is a menace. And then you look at, this for the record is now the main best trio for this team in general. Let me just say this really quickly before we proceed. The reason why that trio is so disgusting, it doesn't really need to be explained, but you've got the best character in the game, the Red Gohan, and he's just disgusting. Like, in general, he'll just blow anything up. You have the endurance. I already explained a lot of what this guy does, but mainly the endurance aspect of what he does is ridiculous on a team like this, because not only do you have an endurance character, you now add a revival character to the mix, which means that you have not only some incredible damage, because they're all great damage dealers, you have a ton of control over the match. You have the ability to control what they're going to do at any given moment. You can control their rising rushes for however long you pretty much want to, right? And you have, with this dude, not only that, you have added layer of protection in that you have all these buffs, including but not limited to the health gain for allies. Like, you have tremendous utility between these three characters, and you have 2 melees and a blast, which typically that's not what you want to see, but this is incredible of a trio. One of the best trios, I think, in the game, period. Just sheer top quality units. The downside is one of them is Zenkai 7, and they're all freaking LF characters. So the thing is, at a low star level, are they still your best 3? Yes. But obviously, it's going to pale in comparison to a 7-star plus version or 6-star plus, so you can get that extra Z ability. Because the Z abilities, I don't know if they have hybrids outright. I'm not really going to check each one, but they may not. So that being said, if you don't have him as your purple, the purple option was really needed, because this dude is your next best purple, but he is not, like, I love Gohan. He's my second favorite character in the series, so understand this when I say this. He is not anywhere near some of the better purples in the game. Like, the higher spectrum of purples in the game currently, he just doesn't compare. He has one really nice unique ability in particular. He has some early game burst damage, like draw speed and stuff like that, for the first 45 counts, and damage to regen. He'll actually, again, just like I mentioned with the Red Trunks, simply by being a Zenkai character, he's gonna have leverage over majority of the game. So he's not terrible, I'm not saying that, but when we talk about best possible options, right? So this right here is mainly what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, he's gonna rip apart pretty much, especially like any green character. He's got almost 300,000 strike attack. He'll rip anybody to pieces, but he's not anywhere near as good as the other Gohan. But if you don't have him, obviously that's what you're looking at. And then again, after that, there's just a massive teardrop. Goten is decent at best. He's waiting for a Zenkai. He's been for a while. In fact, he might be the oldest LF without a Zenkai at this point. Trunks has actually got some decent utility. He's a little power crept at this point due to how old he is, but almost 300,000 attack. He has the card draw here. Main ability card reload is incredibly good, restores his own health. He has blast armor on the blue card. Like, this dude is still a nice burst damage dealer, but other than that, you know, you really want to run this. All right, so let's take a look at the green characters here now. And if you haven't yet, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. So green is interesting. So green has, I don't think there's any spectacular option. Like the last three colors, there was all spectacular options. Green doesn't really have that. You have three characters I think are worth consideration, mainly for your team. It's this guy, and this guy. But I will say, if you're not planning on ever really using a green, you do have that dude as a really good bench buffer, and I believe this dude at a higher star level might be a good bench buffer too, but I'm not really worrying so much about Z abilities specifically. So really what it comes down to is the Gohan and the Trunkses, right? So this is how I'll explain this. This Trunks, for the record, you have two melee types and a defense type. So like, you're not, at this point, this team's become more of a mixed team anyway. Like Gohan Red being on the team kind of just skews it in a certain direction, even though it's mainly melee based. Actually, this dude, I forgot, actually has a really good bench Z ability too. May not want to sleep on this one. Anyways, so the way I'll explain this dude is he has the blue card damage, the draw speed buff, but you're mainly going to be throwing him out there for some burst damage, like drawing the blue, doing some decent damage with that, but also just this defeated buff. So he's going to heal all allies, but the downside is he only offers movies characters the damage inflicted buff. So on the way that the team's built, you're looking at the purple Gohan only getting that. The rest is just HP. Other than that, though, I think he's okay. He's nothing spectacular, right? He's nothing really special, dude. Like, only 220,000 strike attacks, actually decently low for him, but he is 7-star though. So he restores key, draws cards, you know, got some good utility there. Blast armor on the blue, massive impact damage buff as well. Main ability draws one, gets the key to use it, gives him draw speed, gives him extra damage. Like, he'll do good. I just never was really impressed with him. So another thing I'll say is eliminating him from the group. I actually do like this dude a lot. He's a character that is probably, again, just a little bit underrated by some people, but he has the ability to constantly get more draw speed as he goes on. That's one thing I love about him, but he is going to get ripped to pieces. He's a character that he doesn't have the defense. Like, he never really did, but the way the game's evolved since he's come out, he's gonna get absolutely, sorry, my recording stopped, but yeah, he's gonna get absolutely ripped to pieces, absolutely decimated. So he is a character that if you want to just get a damage dealer, you use him, right? Now this dude is interesting because he doesn't have the Z ability, I don't believe, for hybrids. Yeah, future only, but he's actually pretty decent. Has ally health restoration there. He's a defense type character. He's not fully soul boosted, so don't worry too much about his stats. He restores his own health and ki there. Nothing really impactful there, but let's take a look at the unique abilities. He's got damage and cut built in. An additional 40% blast damage when Trunks is a battle member. You're not really using a Trunks, you don't really worry too much about that. He has another cut here of 40% of damage. Then right here, applies the following effects itself after the enemy's attack is over, increases his draw speed and plus 40% of ki recovery. This activates anytime he's hit with anything, so he has a decent amount of draw speed and ki recovery if you're versus a tackle heavy player or tap blast heavy player especially. And then also when he enters the battlefield, he gets damage and ki. So you have a scenario where you have a defense type character that has the ability to enter the battlefield, get ki and damage, and potentially if you have him with a Trunks, again, we're not really using one, he can get blast damage as well. But mainly what you're looking for in this character, in the green character, is a character that could potentially swing the mirror match, right? And in that case, you probably don't really bring a green, but if you're versus another hybrid team, or versus a very powerful team that really just uses a powerful blue, maybe you do want to bring a green character, especially if they don't have a very powerful purple character. Maybe you just drop off yellow Gohan in place of a green and bring green, red, purple, or something like that. It's really situational. But outside of the top three, your green character is situational. But what I will say is, while he's my favorite, I'm gonna do that. The reason why is for the Z ability as well. So Sagas in the movies or hybrid characters get strike attack and defense, and if you're at both of them, purple Gohan most namely, you get another strike attack buff. So you're getting 4 there, right? I'll take it. Well, 1, 2, 3, excuse me there. So you take a look at the blue characters here. Now, this is one thing I kind of explained a little bit ago, But again, the team has been built in a way where it's mainly going to be a mixed team with a focus on strike. So if that's the case, you're mainly looking at this dude as your best character. Even though he is a blast character, he still will fit pretty well in this team. I don't love the defense, the ability for this team. You kind of want to have some more attack going, but it's not bad to have the defense. But you do get the blue card draw here, key damage for allies, stuff like that. He's got some good supporting attributes. He has built-in stuff that's really good too, like the Vanish Gauge Restoration, his own sustainability. He's got some good stuff built in. Trunks is really good as a blue character, but really the problem is with the blue here is that Trunks is like the absolute pinnacle of this grouping, and then there's a massive drop off once again. So like hybrids actually could use some more help. But what I will say is if you were using that blue character, maybe you do this instead. See, like it actually winds up becoming more of a scenario where this Gohan is a future character, so he gets all the Z abilities either way, but you're missing out on one Z ability if you do that, and it's not a huge deal because the double defense of the green Gohan is kind of whatever. You don't really need it on your main damage dealer Gohans, but you could be in a scenario where you're running green, yellow, blue. That could happen. That could be a thing where you need that, right? So that's kind of how things are looking for this team personally, and he's your best blue. But if you're gonna run him, I think you do that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and cycle back, take him back off, take you off, go to blue, and doing this isn't wrong either, by the way, but let's take him off. So here's the funny thing, that dude is, the Gohan can be good in spurts. He's kind of slow, he's very squishy, but he does have the double attack Z ability, which is very good. But here's the funny thing. You saw how my team was built initially, right? This is the reasoning I had for it, was I'll actually put him back, and we'll go ahead and grab the red Trunks. In my opinion, you were looking at pretty much the best version of this team that has the most flexibility color-wise, right? This is it right here. You could also argue that maybe you want to drop one of those characters for an HP buffer like this dude or like this dude, right? That's a thing you could do as well for some more sustainability, but I've opted to go heavy on the offense. Now, another thing to keep in mind here is that if you have this team built this exact way, I talked a lot about how it's a mixed team with an emphasis on strike attack. That's mainly only because one more Z ability is strike based. Really, there's two that are strike based, or three that are strike based, excuse me, two that are blast based, and there's one blast defense, which is kind of irrelevant. So really, you're not really, the team can go either way and they'll function just fine. The damage is not going to skew too heavy in one direction. Your characters will be able to perform well. And again, this is my best version of the team overall. Now, if you wanted to, you could add in the purple Gohan here for Zenkai buffs, right? So if you feel like you don't need a green, you could do that. You do lose out on strike defense if you do that. That's fine. If you feel like you don't need a blue, you could do that instead, where Gohan's your blue, you're on the team in place of your blue, and you do have a green character, whoever you want that to be, whether it's him, But mainly, the main thing is that outside of these top three, the main takeaway is that the team is extremely flexible because there's no spectacular options otherwise. So let's go ahead and build a version of the team that does not have those three characters, because they're all but needed on the team. For the record, they're so good that they're all but needed. There's a red, there's a yellow. Let's go ahead and take a look at the purple options here. Let's see what we have. We don't have really, purple's so like unspectacular. Like it's really just same for blue, but blue is not as bad. Yeah, it turns into more of like almost like a Trunks based team, really. So there's a green character, there's a blue. I love to have all of my options available. I don't like building a team that only has three characters. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Maybe four, but I hate having three only. So that's another option of the team. Like, you can do something like this. Would this be competitive? Sure. Would it be tough to win with? Yes, right? It's just how it is with the game. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see going forward. If you haven't seen the showcase for the Frieza Force minions, that video was actually really good. I used them for about 30 minutes, wins and losses. They were really awesome to use. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out the other video down below in the description. I'll see all of you in the next DB Legends video on the channel. Have an awesome day and take it easy, everybody.